Hey, it's Jeff Sauer here representing PPC Course, and I want to talk to you about broad match modified keywords, which are a happy medium between phrase and exact match keywords and broad match keywords. And I have some questions that I'm going to answer in this video and really just help you get familiar with different match types in Google AdWords, when you might want to use them, and specifically when you might want to use broad match modified keywords. So listen up and I'll show you all about these match types in Google AdWords. Let's talk about broad match modified keywords in AdWords. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking one of my cardinal rules. Okay, it's not just a rule, it's a commandment. One of my 10 commandments of PPC. Now you might have seen this post before. I posted it on Jeffalytics, and it's called my 10 Commandments of PPC Management. And I wrote this blog post after doing a presentation in Bali of the same name, my 10 Commandments of PPC. And if you wanted to, you could watch the full presentation on YouTube or look at the blog post in the links we provide you. And of my 10 commandments of PPC management, commandment number 6 states that broad is bad. Don't light money on fire, use match types and remarketing to be more efficient with your campaigns. So what does that mean, and why am I creating a video on broad keywords then? Well, there's a distinction. Broad keywords are not great. And so if you were to bid on the keyword werewolf novels, you'd notice here with broad match keywords, all kinds of other things can slip in. If they think that travel is a synonym for werewolf, then they might let you rank for it. If they think that novels and costumes are synonyms, you can see they're going to show up there. And these are pretty crazy, the different variations Google comes up with broad match. They take a lot of liberties when they match things together, and it's pretty gross. I would say, ew, this is not very cool. And that's my opinion on broad match. And if you look at broad match modified, which is the next one over, you can see it's actually a little bit more tolerable. We have a pretty close match with the way that we look at things. So werewolf can become werewolves, but werewolf doesn't become something crazy. So travel novels wouldn't be included. Scuba equipment, prints, concert tickets, whatever that ends up being, you'd have a much better chance of being relevant to your advertisers. And we like being relevant. So while broad match makes me crazy, modified broad match is not all that bad. Think about it this way. Obviously, exact match has a low reach and sharp targeting, but it limits your audience because you're just too targeted and you're not getting everything that's available, and you're not always going to be great at selecting keywords. So even though you think you have the best keyword terms, you need to go out there and do some broad matching, especially modified broad matching, to understand what's going on. You need to mine your search terms reports in order to get at the really cool data and in order to round out your keyword list. So why should you use modified broad match? Really, for 2 reasons. One is you receive great data in your search terms report, like I just talked about there. You get all kinds of cool data in there. You get to see what people are searching for. You get to understand what Google decides are the synonyms. You get to see the exact term that somebody uses to convert. So if you have some conversions coming in, you can take a look at it and you can refine things deeper, and you can really shave off a lot of cost on your campaigns by eliminating things that aren't working, or you can increase your value significantly by doubling down on the things that are working. Number 2, Google doesn't like it if you go too granular too quickly, at least my experience. If I start with a campaign that has all kinds of different branches, single keyword ad groups, Google doesn't really like it that much. So when you build out your SKAGs, make sure you add modified broad match as well. And we wrote all about SKAGs here on jeffalytics.com/single keyword ad groups with the little dashes in between. And this brings up a great question because I teach match types in PPC course. And Shelly wants to know, with modified broad match, do you just place the plus in front of your keywords in AdWords Editor in the keyword edit screen, or does it automatically make the match type when you post it back to AdWords? That's a really good question, and I wanted to dig into it and show you exactly how this works within the Google AdWords Editor interface and show you how you can add modified broad keywords in bulk, because otherwise this can be very inefficient and this will really help you out. So let's dig into it. Okay, so here we are in Google AdWords Editor. As you can see, I have a bunch of broad keywords that I entered in here, and they start out with very broad, and then they get to be more specific, and then at the end they start to get creepy. Like if you're really typing in these things, then I feel sorry for you, and I really do hope that you get help. The help that you deserve, the help that you need. But anyway, assuming you've gotten the help you deserve, the help that you need, what we're going to do is we're going to take these broad match keywords and we're going to
add modifiers to it, and we're going to create a skag that is the end-all be-all of skags. Now I put in way more keywords than I would in a normal single keyword ad group, but you get the point here. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this thing first, and then we're going to paste it. Now notice Google's giving us all these warnings. You can't have the same blah, 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 blah. And these are all still broad. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to change this to phrase. And then I'm actually going to hit Control V again to paste. And I'm going to change this to exact. Now Google's red warnings just go to yellow ones saying you should not have the same keyword in ad group. They've been warning us about that forever, and I never heed that warning because I don't think it's really valid or something to pay attention to. You want your match types of different keywords to be all in the same ad group. So if I select this here, all of our broad match keywords, notice they're still broad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to go to append text, and then I'm going to put a plus sign before the existing. And if I append that, okay, it's changed to 7 keywords. Notice it's only the things that I have selected. These things stay their own. And that's going to give us a plus at the beginning. But that doesn't give us a plus for everything else in here. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go here. We're going to go to replace text, and we're going to find every space. So I'm just going to put my space bar in there once, and we're going to replace that with a plus sign and then space. And if we go to replace, and we have it for our existing items that are in here, let's see what happens. 7 keywords changed. And look at that. They are not what we want them to be. I screwed up. So we're going to hit Control Z to back out of that change, and we're going to go to replace text, and instead of a space, we're going to go space plus sign, and that should do what we need it to do. I'm going to get rid of that extra space at the end, and I'm going to hit replace. And now we have our modified broad match keywords. Notice that everything here is modified broad. In those 2 steps, highlighting the areas that you want to focus on, we do the append text at the beginning, we do the replace text at the end, and now we have a pretty beautiful single keyword ad group. Now if you're a purist, you'd probably really get down to the point where you had your single keyword ad group would be just this. We'd get rid of all these funny ones I put in there as an example, and it might be down to this level. Or if you're a true purist and you want to have one for everything, you would just be like this. You'd have broad modified, you'd have phrase, and you'd have exact in your AdWords campaign. It's up to you to decide what you want to do, how much you want to manage these things, how much effort it's going to take versus how much gain you're going to have as a result of it. So I'll leave that up to you, and we're going to go back in and we're going to talk about what we just learned here. So summarizing what we just learned in AdWords Editor, here's how you bulk add broad match modified into your AdWords Editor, and then you upload that into your AdWords account. And this is a hat tip to James Svoboda. Fun fact, James is a co-founder of MN Search. Actually, I'd call him the founder. He did most of the work to get us going. Awesome dude. And he wrote about this a long time ago. He actually wrote about this in his blog, and the link below, we'll link to that in our blog post as well. He did this in 2011, and it's been the definitive post about it, but AdWords Editor has changed. Things have changed, and I just wanted to see if his method still works, and it does. So here's the steps that we need to do. Step 1, fire up Google AdWords Editor. Step 2, enter your keywords as broad match type. Step 3, copy and paste your keywords, changing match types for phrase and exact. Step 4, highlight just your broad keywords and append the plus sign to the beginning of the string. Step 5, replace the spaces with space plus. It's pretty painless. This is the reason why I love Google AdWords Editor so much. This is the reason why I love making bulk changes, because you can do it all in a matter of seconds. All you need to do is get familiar with the functions and make sure you do things the right way. And don't be worried about screwing up, because you're always a Control Z away from undoing your changes, and you can do it right the next time. So if you like this tip, make sure you subscribe to our PPC newsletter at ppccourse.com.